Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses and, of course, for Fox's Sake TV for episode 8. Can you believe it? Episode 8 of Fox's Den. As usual, I'm joined by my good friend Anil. How you doing, mate?
Good, pumped for the big game, and you got to be buzzing after that last-minute winner. Let's go.
Yeah, massive. We will talk a little bit about that before we get into the Forest preview. Ragsy, how you doing?
I'm all good. I'm in a stupendous mood after this weekend, man. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? I mean, sometimes we've been on the end of last-minute winners from opposing teams, and we're thinking, why can't we have a moment like that? And we did, and it was just bliss, honestly. And huge game heading into this week. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, just before I come to you, Josh, it was that big of a goal that Mazzala Designs have released the Jordan Ayew print. Obviously, if anybody doesn't know, I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. I'm just, obviously, you've seen this one on the channel loads of times. They've done a Jordan Ayew one. So I think their Twitter's just Mazzala Designs. So yeah, you should check that out because it looks like a good pickup. Josh, how you doing, my fella?
All good, lads. All good. Still buzzing from Saturday. 9 points from 9 on Friday night, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully this time he's finally freed Ricardo. Akif is talking about. Right, lads. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about let's touch on the Southampton game. I mean, you know, half time. You just said it a few minutes ago, Ragsy, but half time in that Southampton game, I was losing my head. We were all, I'm sure, losing our heads. We were thinking, oh God, Fox's Den on Wednesday is going to be a massive Cooper bashing session. But we turned it around, you know, with a little bit of help from a red card, of course, and a penalty. But we did turn it around. Josh, mate, I mean, you were there at the game. I'm going to show a clip of yours in a minute. But yeah, you were at the game. What was it like, mate?
It was mental, to be fair. Half time was depressing. I'll be honest. I think a lot of people were left quite early. But yeah, second half, obviously they're kicking our way as well, which helped. But as soon as Abdul came on, it was very weird. The way in just turned. It was very in terms of the support for the lads and whatnot. And things just I don't know what it was, but you could just tell. I said to my mate next to me, I think we're going to go on and win this just when we got the goal back, and obviously we did. So yeah, it's a fantastic away, and they're the moments you travel for in football, especially like the players obviously celebrating right in front of us as well.
Yeah, I mean, Anil, I think, you know, you were a part of the Matchday Live, of course, and I was getting so many comments like in the first half saying, it's all right, we're going to come from behind and win. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then there was a little bit of chat about it, you know, at half time, and people were saying, oh, you know, we could come back. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. This is Leicester City. So, but we did, didn't we? I mean, you know, let's just ignore the red card a sec. You take the red card out of it, we still were just so much better in that second half.
I think we would have won even 11 versus 11. It's interesting to say that Josh said that. I can say that watching it, it's one of those times where I felt like you could feel the energy in the ground. Yeah. Like as soon as as soon as he got that first goal, I say we were doing the watch long. I said to the guys, we're going to win this game. I could just feel it. Like you could just feel that like everyone was buzzing. They were getting up for it. And it almost felt like a bit therapeutic. I mean, you're totally right, Locks. I firstly, what a fantastic game of football. Personally, they're the games that you live for. And we're going to see in a moment the reason why I just wish I was there. But even if you're not, moments like that, I mean, if anyone ever asks you, why do you like football? Just show them that match and they'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? So that's number one. But I just felt it was very therapeutic for me because I think a lot of us were like, come on, Cooper, unleash the shackles, right? See what you could do. He did it. And the fact that we won as well has really got to make him think. I mean, this could be the turning point. You see this happen quite a lot with teams where it's not working, everything's broken. They do the one final roll of the dice and either the manager gets sacked or somehow they find the system and it starts working. Be interesting to see if that happens to some other teams. Like Glasner's got that at Crystal Palace at the moment, for example. So let's see if Cooper, if he like locks into it, we could go on a big run. We want to get behind him. As Josh says, we could go 3 games out of 3. We joked Steve Cooper could be on for Manager of the Month. I cannot believe we're saying that. So I'll shut up now, but buzzing for the game. And yeah, it was just so amazing to see it. And yeah, interesting that you could see that. The fans felt that Leicester were back in that match.
Yeah, well, after 2 positive bits of chat there, I'm actually going to come to you, Ragsy, for the first half. I mean, it was a shambles, wasn't it, mate? It was a shambles.
I mean, like, coming to me for the, like I'm doom and gloom. And I would agree with you. I'm usually the guy who's half glass empty and like sort of doom and gloom mentality. And usually being 2-0 down to Southampton, you're thinking on the surface, being like, yeah, what is the point of even rushing the second half? But weirdly, I think I said on the call in as well, like that first half, I thought the approach in that first half and the setup was exactly the same as we did against Bournemouth. And I think he was right and justified to do that. So I'm not necessarily blaming Cooper, weirdly. And I'd be the first to. So like, and I'd be on him. Like I was like, yeah, honestly. And it's just like, I think the way you got to give Southampton credit first and foremost. I thought they were quick, they were decisive. And the thing that really sort of let them down was the fact that they weren't clinical when they had those chances and they were cracking teams open, even in their good spells that you saw from previous games this season. But they really got it spot on. And the only really real criticism was that they could have been 3-4-0 up. But look at the chances that we had in that first half. And we had a couple of set pieces. And I think that's the one thing we sort of seem to be doing well at the minute is actually taking advantage of them. And we'd never seem to have done. We had like one with Bass, one with Justin, that, I think with better conviction, like they could have been real chances for us. El Canus off the post, Vardy when he was through, when he got played through by Buonanotte. The only thing that you then sort of look to in the second half when it comes to Cooper is he kind of caved. And what you saw from that second half was Enzo ball. It's an Enzo system. It's implementing Winks into that side, so we're playmaking. And he was just like, okay, you guys run with it. And that was probably, I'd say, the best half of football that we've seen from us this season. So it kind of makes, unfortunately for him, Cooper's approach a bit redundant. I'm not necessarily saying give him a bit of credit for, because like he was proactive for a change with the changes that he did make. But it's like he's in between a rock and a hard place. And you do have a little bit of sympathy for him. But I think it's the case of, we know what works with this Enzo system. Let the players just sort of run with it. And let's just continue this momentum going. Let's just see the team that we want to see. Let's see this sort of proactive approach. Let's see this style. And we can get behind it. And unfortunately, that makes Cooper's tactics redundant. But
well, I was going to say, we are, I've said on a couple of streams in the last few days already, I feel like we're at a crossroads now. Which direction will we go in? For anybody who's been watching or who saw my opposition preview with Wolfie, you'll see, what direction I think we're going to go in. But before we do that, before we talk about what is next, I want to just, again, end the Southampton chat on a video clip, a clip that was from Josh from Sports YouTube, his YouTube channel from his matchday vlog. So after this stream, please go and check it out. I'm sure you have already. It's on 5,000 views. So I'm sure most of you have already watched it, but go check it out after this because it's quality. But here is a snippet from the video.
Mate, this goes in foot here. That's all. That's all. Shoot! Oh!
Quality. Quality. Obviously, Anil said that is what it's all about. Go on, lad. Absolutely. Absolute scenes. But yeah, I think, right, again, Ragsy, you said that, I don't know if it was at the start of the stream or before we went live, but like we've been dealt so many of those shit moments over the last few years, and it was nice to have one of our own. Akif says, Lox's tweet was so interesting. He's expecting Steffi to be benched and Ayew to start alongside Fatawu on the right. Well, let's talk about it then. So, of course, we have Nottingham Forest coming up. They're currently 8th in the league. If they win, they go 5th. If we win, we go 1 point behind them. Anil, mate, I'll come to you first. As I said, I feel like we're at a crossroads. Cooper could go one way or another with how he sets us up. I personally think he's going to continue with how we have seen us start games previously. And the reason that I put this tweet out that Akif is referring to is because I think Fatawu is unplayable, unstartable, if that's a word. He'll have to do it, otherwise he'll get shit from the fans. But I think, as we know, he doesn't like to play them both together, and I think he will then bring Ayew into the team, and he'll, he scored a goal. He scored the last-minute goal. If you're playing Fatawu, you've got to play Ayew. He impacted the team. So, yeah, talk to me. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm being a bit too critical?
History would probably show that you're correct, but I don't know what he's going to do, to be honest with you. As you say, it is a crossroads. I think he's going to be more bold, mainly because it's his former employees. He wants to win this game, surely. But look, we've said it a few times. We'll find out who the real Cooper is, I guess, if this match. If he does start that way, what will be kind of depressing is even on the Friday night, people will be coming in and they're feeling like a bit low. Like, do you know when sometimes you get one of those lineups and everyone's like, oh, hello? Wasn't expecting that. You do that on a Friday night, get the crowd behind you, and it can work to be, the 12th man. And so that's another reason why I think he might actually go for it. So I would say that, previous history shows that you're probably right. He'll only go one winger, and therefore he'll drop the quote unquote worst performing one from the previous week. But I'm hoping that in the dressing room on Monday, the players laid into him and they said, look, Gaffer, that's why we won. We won because we did this system. So let's play it again. Because I think the reason he switched that system is because they were telling him he had to do it. I honestly think, I said to you, I think Harry Winks was the manager in that second half. That's honestly what it looked like with Wout Faes as assistant. So you could be right, but this is one of the few times, Locks, where I hope you're stinking wrong.
Well, before I come to the other lads, one more thing I want to get your opinion on, Anil, is Scott says here, are you for Victor Christensen? Is there a world in which we see JJ on the left and Fatawu in some kind of wing back, right back, weird role?
That's what I think he'll do. I think that's the change he made. Is he took Christensen off, he put Fatawu on, and technically Fatawu was playing where Justin was, i.e. as the right back. But then because they had the man sent off, you never really see him defend that much. And to be honest with you, if you've got those two wingers, the thing is you can pin back their wingers, so you don't even have to defend as much if you attack. Like, that's one of the things that I don't think Cooper gets, is sometimes just by attacking, you force the other team back because you're terrified in case, it goes wrong. But that's what I think he will start. Let's see if it works. I don't think he will put Ricardo in, for example. That would really be like, if he did that, oh my God, I would just be like, Cooper redeemed. I'd literally change the stream channel to that. But I don't think he will do it. Yeah.
Until we lose, and then everyone will say, see, Cooper was right all along. We shouldn't be playing Ricardo. Scott didn't even mean Victor Christensen. That's me being stupid. Obviously, VC, not VK. He meant vice captain. But anyway, we got an answer from Anil, so thanks anyway, Scott. Josh, what do you want to see, mate? I mean, I think we all want to see more of the second half, of course. But yeah, what do you think will happen? Do you think Cooper will maybe switch to more of like an Enzo type of system? Because I see it more as, he got a little bit desperate in that second half against Southampton and he just had no other option. But first half against Southampton, against Forest, what do you think he does?
Sadly, I think it would be quite similar to the first half, the way we set up initially. But then again, look, we've slated him for weeks in terms of his subs. He got them right on Saturday, and obviously Fatawu, obviously he wings. We want to see Fatawu start, and I think he probably will. But just like we're saying, I kind of agree with you lots. I think Mavididi could get dropped. I just think he's going to go one or the other. But then again, I just think this type of game as well, it's kind of a one-off game. It's a Friday night. It's a derby. It's on Sky Sports. Like, if we just go for it, I honestly think we could do well, because the players right now in terms of confidence going to be the highest all season. So I don't see no reason why Leicester shouldn't go organ blazing on Friday night. But the way I see it going, I think it'd be quite similar to how we started in similar games in terms of the Bournemouth and Southampton games. Fatawu for me comes in, but we could see Steffi bench. But I don't think Steffi was too bad against Southampton either. He just got doubled up on, so it's one of them really. But yeah, I kind of agree what Locks was saying earlier with his tweet.
Yeah, better in the second half, Steffi, when he had Fatawu on the other side, not doubled up. But, again, I just don't... I'm sorry to sound like I'm just always bashing the man, but I just don't think Cooper sees these things for some reason. Ragsy, Ray reckons we will see a more attacking Cooper. We're home. It's the tricky trees. It's Friday night. Do you agree with Ray, or what are you thinking?
I'm kind of... I mean, logic and history dictates that I think you may be spot on. He may sort of look to Fatawu, and especially when you got Gary Lineker on Match of the Day calling for Fatawu to be starting games and stuff, and how they were relieved, and that's been even more public. So he's getting a lot of public, like, sort of pressure to be like, right, go and start Fatawu now. So he may cave into that and then drop Mavididi. But I think the dynamic is just so weird and off with Cooper at the minute. Like, you got a squad there, and it's like, I think we're all in a good moment here, but that can all dissipate pretty quickly, like with a very negative result against Forest. So his position's still on knife edge. So, and because he'll have that added extra motivation to want to go and like stamp his authority and go and get a win against Forest, and then that would really sort of gear the fans towards his side a bit more, or at least relieve some pressure off of him. So maybe he could. But then the worry is that because Forest, and I grit my teeth when I say this, they have had a good start, and especially they seem to be better away from home than they are at their home at the minute. So they could, and with Nuno as well, like he usually just comes to our ground and sets up a really sort of resolute block against us and makes life very difficult. So if that then sort of all falls south, then it'll be like, well, see, I told you so. That's why I've, don't want to play those two together. We're too expensive. I need more trust of my trusted guys into the side and stuff. But I think, yeah, what a way to sort of endear yourself if you can really just go with the team that Enzo has left him with. And that's all we're really asking for at the minute. And I know it's hard for him to sort of, it is difficult for him. And this is why I do have a little bit of sympathy, a little. But we're following on from Enzo and the drop off in quality that he is as a coach. We've got to be realistic. It is a drop off, and you kind of just like he's in the place where he can stick with his ways, which is what you want any sort of strong manager to do. But then inevitably gets sacked because everyone will realize it doesn't work, or he caves in to the players and goes with whatever they want to do, which we all think is the right way anyway. Then he just doesn't really implement himself as a manager and then is easily replaced. So it's still a pretty lose-lose situation for him in the long run. But I think for the time being, just to at least like keep yourselves in a good position and, you could be along for the ride maybe, then I think he might just sort of cave in a bit. I think we could see the two start, Mavididi and Vatu, and I think he might. I think he'll still stick with that same formation. I don't think he'll go with what the three at the back that we did with Enzo and stuff. I still think he'll keep Winks on the bench.
And no Yannick either. Still
no, I don't think. I think he's out injured now. I think they said again he's got all
whatever.
yeah, whatever you take from that, really. But yeah, I think he'll play the two, but I think Winks made a difference in that second half, and I think especially when you're coming up against a resolute block, I'd probably consider having him in for this game, but I don't think he'll play him. I think he'll still be two, Didi and Skip.
That's the next thing I want to talk about quickly, though. Who you win absolutely nothing, but who knows what fixture that was? 25th of October, 2019. What happened on that day?
Southampton. Southampton, isn't it?
Oh, Southampton, of course, of course it was.
9-0. Yeah, absolutely. Just before we talk more on the Forest, and Neil, what do you think to this? If he wins the next two, he locks the job for the rest of the season.
No, 100%. I mean, he might already have locked it. I keep telling you guys, unless they're in the relegation zone, he's not going to get. I'm sorry, guys. If they're not in the relegation zone, they're not going to sack Steve Cooper. I'm sorry. That's how decisions get made. And we're not in the relegation zone. And even if we lose, we're not in the relegation zone. In fact, I'm pretty sure if we lose the next two, we're not in the relegation zone. As people have been saying, the way that, do you know what's crazy? Do you know it's the first time ever after 8 games, there's 4 teams that haven't won a single game. It's never happened before. Now, maybe 2 of the teams, as you know, even though I'm surprised Ipswich happened, to be honest, even Southampton, they didn't look that terrible to me. They didn't look like they were like as clueless as the teams from last season. So I find it quite unusual that that's happened. So we've got a gap. And yeah, I mean, if he does it, look, I keep saying this, maybe people here are kind of anti-Cooper, but I mean, if he does win those games and he does it with the more attacking style, people will get behind him. And I know what Ragsy is saying there, that like, oh, you don't maybe just want to copy things, but there is a thing called man management. Like Alex Ferguson didn't really do the tactics so much at Man United. He normally had his assistants doing it, but he managed that squad and had them motivated. But at the end of the day, winning is the best way to manage. That's how you're going to get the fans singing your name and getting behind you. So why not? I mean, I forget when it was, but we were bottom of the table. We played Forest and we beat them 4-0. I mean, we still got relegated that season, but that was like an emphatic way as well. I think we were the underdogs coming into that game. I think it was a Saturday night game that maybe rather than the Friday night game, but it was again under the lights in the KP and we smashed it. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I think that might have even been a Monday Night Football, that game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Zaid's right. To be honest, you can't sack a manager who is kind of mid-table. I mean, no, not at all. If Cooper can get balls and make these attacking changes against beatable teams and then revert more defensive against other teams, our fan base will like him and accept him a lot more. That's it as well. I think if we hadn't have set up how he did against the likes of Everton, and you know what I mean, I think that's what's done him. And the whole Palace capitulation, that didn't help him. You know, we're not. I keep saying this. We're not unreasonable when we drew with Spurs. We lost to Villa. You know, Fulham was a close game despite it being a honking performance. We looked at them and said, you know, our criticism is more that we should have done better in those games. Not on paper. On paper we shouldn't be beating Villa, and we shouldn't expect to be beating even Palace at the time because they had a good end to last season. But during the game, we were seeing it play out, and we were like, "Yeah, no, we should be doing much, much better here. These are not as good as people make out." So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I want to talk about the midfield now because I think this. You know, people talk about the wingers being a dilemma. I think this is the dilemma. Who does he start? Josh, Skip, or Winks? Indeed, he's locked in my opinion. He's locked in.
Yeah.
Facundo's locked in. Facundo's locked in the 10.
Has to be.
Who is again alongside Ndidi? Is it Winks or Skip?
I think it's Skip, to be honest. Like, if Forest is setting up how we're thinking with a low block, I'd go Winks over Skip. I don't think Skip was bad against Southampton. I think Skip's been, a quite reasonable player for us since he's come in. But I think in terms of Winks, especially playing like people like Fatawi, they've got that slight connection and whatnot. So I think Winks just adds a bit more balance in terms of on the ball. And then you got Wolf. Obviously, you want Wolf a bit further back and Bueno not in the 10, which he has to be in the 10, by the way. I don't want him on the wide, on the right. Sorry. So yeah, for me, I'd go with Wings. But then again, I wouldn't be too annoyed if it was Skip. I think in terms of the midfield, it's probably been our better area so far this season in terms of the balance. But it's important for me having Diddy a bit further back than in the 10.
I mean, Boz wants 2 Ndidis. So, yeah, I mean, we'll cover some ground, I think.
If you look at the tackling statistics, there might be 2 Ndidis on the pitch. A little bit if you remember, when we won the title, we played 12 men because we had N'Golo and Kante both in the team next to Drinkwater. And that was the cheat code that won us the title.
Tripe and Onions, again, still with that horrific chin up. 12 months from now, Champions League football will be back at the King Power. If it ain't, I will show my arse in Woolworths window on Saturday afternoon. I think Woolworths is shut down, so good luck with that. I mean, yeah, I never know if Tripe and Onions is being serious or not. I really hope not. But yeah, anyway. Zaid says, I think Skip is a better option against Forest, especially if Abdul starts as a right back, which I think will happen. How much structure in the base of the first phase build up when we have Winks? Anil, you talk to me now before I come to Ragsy. Anil, what do you think? Because I've got this feeling you might prefer Winks for this game.
I would, but I'm going to throw you a little spanner in the works, which is that you could have all 3 and El Canoes could come out of the team. And then your double pivot could be Winks and Skip, and you could have Ndidi a bit further forward as the box crasher, which is something that we've tried this season. And so that, in my opinion, that's how you get most of our good players. Actually, although I'll be honest with you, I would put Ricardo instead of Skip in that case. So I'm even more of a spanner there. But I'm saying we have literally played all 3 of those players all at the same time. As you say, I feel Ndidi is undroppable because I sent you some stuff. But basically, Ndidi at the moment, he's got the most tackles of any player in the Premier League this season, even though he's basically played 3 different positions. He's played as the attacking 10, he's played as the box-to-box, and he's played as the defensive 6. And he's still got like really great stats. So he can't be dropped. But what position you play him in, I think it's up to you. And if you're going to attack, then I don't think you need Ndidi in the build-up. And I think actually having him forward isn't the worst thing because he can be physical, he can rough them up. You've got to remember that they've got 2 physical centre-backs there. So having him getting about them and will make space for the others to drift in. So that would be my thinking. If I'm not allowed to do that, then I personally would pick Winks just because I think he transformed the game when he came on before Fatawi did. But I don't really have a problem with whoever starts. I think we've got a abundance of quality in that position, which is great considering how last season, if Harry Winks was injured, we'd absolutely crap the bed. So
Ragsy, who do you want to see, mate? Any chance of Bilal? I mean, for me, no. I'm not saying he was terrible or bad against Southampton, but I'd say it was average, and he's not really shown that he should be starting yet, in my opinion. He needs that one game where he kind of stands out, I think, and he's not had that yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a transitional period for any player, sort of like, especially so young, just coming from the Belgian league and then being thrown straight into the Premier League and thinking you're going to adapt straight away. You're probably looking at like 5% of players that would be able to adapt straight away. Like most of the time, it's a whole bedding in period. It's getting up to speed with the pace of the game. It's like improving your physicality. So give him this year, and it's all about sort of the development over the course of it. But I thought he was okay. Getting some good pockets of space, and I think he's labeling that sort of demand on himself to sort of improve in terms of stats. So let's see. I think, but yeah, for this game, I would like put him out of the team. There is the cup game against United coming afterwards and stuff, where I feel like he'd get an opportunity to then impress. Going back onto Ndidi, I didn't really sort of notice this in the game, but like it's more like. So when I didn't really want to sort of diss Cooper's approach, I think it was more on the players, in my opinion. And one in particular, especially when you look at both goals as well, Ndidi with his tracking back, listen, like I think he's had a good start to the season, and the stuff that happened in Nigeria, of course, but the tracking back, absolutely pathetic, if I'm being honest with you. I thought, and for the free kick as well, when Facundo, it was all on Facundo and being like, and I initially put the blame on him, but just trudging back. If that happens on Friday, absolutely unacceptable. So I would have him in the team, but he's got to step up. He can't be doing any sort of like, because we clearly needed an extra man back when we did it. And it's like for both goals as well, to sort of, I know it came down just inside and you can point blame there, but you know, when Skip is back and all the defenders are back in shape and he's not, that I've only sort of spotted that. So that needs to change. But saying that, I would still have him in the team. And I think if you're going to, I think it has to be Skip initially, just to give a bit of protection, so that if there is counter-attacks, if Forest do capitalise on set pieces, just for the time being, and then if we do need to change it, then it'll probably be Skip again that would be sort of subbed off at half time, and he could then sort of change the tempo of the game to sort of utilise possession a bit better. But that, I'd go with Ndidi and Skip just for a bit of protection.
Yeah. No one suggested a drop in Ndidi then, because they're probably everyone's too scared of Manny. Manny will come on and start beating people up. And Neil, this is a kind of unrelated, as the comment says, unrelated. It's from a while ago. I know he's still in the chat, Buzz. He says, if we had Ward or a mediocre keeper, would Cooper still be our manager? I mean, you've got to think. Personally, I think, we would have got spanked like 5-6-7-2 against Arsenal. Without Mads, all the other games that he's kept us in. Everton, do you think we'd where do you think we'd be without Mads?
Well, I can tell you, because the stats say that we should have, the expected goals against, ours is the worst in the league. We should have conceded 20 goals, but we've only conceded 14. And what's the reason for that? You know what the reason for that is. So yeah, I think, honestly, probably would have been sacked, because a lot of our points are, in fact, every single game, he's done at least one save that has stopped a surefire goal. Even against Southampton, he stopped Wout Fast from adding to his OG collection. Bournemouth, I'm pretty sure he made a couple. Every single game he's done it. So absolutely, that's why everyone keeps saying he's the player of the season, because without him, we'd be absolutely screwed.
Yeah. 100%. Right, let's go around and get some score predictions. Please, people, start putting your score predictions in the chat as well. I will start us off 1-1. I'm going with. I think we'll go 1-0 down, and I think we'll start playing. You know the story. You've seen it before. 1-1. Anil?
I'm going to sound like a sheep, because that's what I've gone for as well. 1-1.
The same circumstances? 1-0 down?
Maybe, but to be honest with you, I just think it's more indicative of the fact that both teams are in really good form and will be feeling confident, and it'll be a competitive game. And Nuno, especially, the games are always tight, right? Admittedly, there was that one bonkers game against Wolves that finished 4-3. I don't know what the hell. Claude Puel and Nuno Espirito Santo in a 7-goal thriller. It's not something you expect to read on a Saturday afternoon, but I don't think it's going to be one of those games. So I think it will be tight. Both teams are good, so it's probably going to be point shared, in my opinion.
Lovely stuff. Josh, score prediction, mate.
Ooh, I'll keep up my positive streak. I'm going to go narrow 1-0 Leicester. I don't think there'll be good goals in it. Forest got a good defence, but we've scored in every game so far. So, yeah, 1-0, late goal again.
Rags there.
Right. I'm going against this bullshit trend that you three have like offered up here. Right, I want chaos. I want scraps. And for the fans that are going, get in your seats early. Well, and not even seats and stuff. Get in the ground early. Get that up and going. Hopefully, Cooper then sees sense and picks the right team selection. And then from the off, like we can get that crowd going. That is huge for us. Like just to get that going. And I want pretty much a back and forth game because on paper and in our heads, I think logic dictates that this will be like a pretty sort of a very tight game. Not really any of the opposition's budging, and I do see that, but 4-2.
Look at this guy. Look, he's
I'm telling you, it's an imposter. It's not Ragney. It's Ragney's brother.
I saw doppelganger chats, and I'm like, nah, I'm changed man.
No, look. He's put on a knitted shirt or a knitted jumper, and he thinks he can come in here and start.
Nice. It's cozy. It's cold, man.
And he thinks he can start.
Be well insulated, honestly.
He's ready to get out the dugout. He is and start doing the tap bit. All the Pep Guardiola stuff he is. Right. I am going to come to the score predictions in the chat in just a second. But before I do that, again, I've got another bone to pick with Ragsy. Yesterday, I did a video, as you know, with Wolfie, and we did a combined 11 in that video. Now, if anybody's done combined 11s before on YouTube, it's very difficult because you've got two people from two different teams who want to put all of their players in it. So you have to try and be diplomatic. Ragsy and about 50 people in my comment sections are coming for me, criticizing this combined 11. Chill out, right? This is the combined 11 that we came with. I'm not going to ask you all to nitpick on all of them. I want you to just come each with one person you would say, no, he has to be replaced with a Leicester player. Anil, what are you saying, mate? Where have I really, really, really messed up?
Maybe Morgan Gibbs White or Anderson's in the wrong position, isn't he? Starters. I don't know. Their double pivot doesn't look that strong, in my opinion. You got to have. Indeed, he's not in the team. We've just said about that. No, you could have picked two. You could have picked Wilf or Indeed. You haven't got either of them.
I had to sacrifice Wilf in order to get Buonanotte in because Wolfie was adamant on Gibbs White being in there, which I thought was kind of fair. And so indeed he was originally where Gibbs White was, and Gibbs White was in the 10, and then we had Buonanotte on the right. But I wanted Buonanotte and Fatawi, right? So we had to move it around. We moved Anderson and Gibbs White back, and we just went with that. So, what about you, Josh, mate? Where have I really messed up on this, mate? Is there anyone that you're thinking, oh, what is he doing with that? He needs to be in there.
I would argue Vardy, but I'll leave that to Ragsy. I'll probably agree with Neil, to be fair. I think a Diddy in there, maybe Faz at centre back, push maybe. I'll go with Diddy there. He's got to be in most tackles.
Right, and time for Ragsy to tell me why Jamie Vardy is should be in there over Chris Wood. Even though I agree, if you watch the video, I agree. But he was trying to tell me. Go on, mate. Go on.
I think he's Wolfie is over the moon at the minute because at the minute, you're sort of setting yourself up. This is a snapshot over 8 games, and that's an unfair reflection because. If it's for the away game, that's towards the end of the season, then we can look over the course of the season and go, right, who's had the better season and who would you rather have? Then you'd be like, okay, if Wood's got more goals, then fine. He goes in the team. But if you're telling me that a Leicester reject is getting in, and you'd rather have him over one of the greatest strikers that the Premier League has ever seen, a Premier League winner, FA Cup winner, the record for the most... with the longest streak of consecutive goals. This is a striker that has adapted to not only be in a high pressing system, a counter attacking system, but a possession based system as well, just to be that fox in the box. He can do it all. And with that plank of wood, literally, you're just very limited. And even I saw the Palace game with Forest and stuff. Yeah, okay, you got that goal. That should have been a Dean Henderson own goal, if we're being brutally honest about it. And okay, he's got 5 goals, well done. But so we are at the end of the season. To
be fair, Ragsy, you did just say it's a snapshot of 8 games, and Wood has scored more than Vardy in those 8 games. So
Yeah, but
I'm sure we'd have had
reflection, and it's like you look at.
But we'd have had
overall,
Maradona. We'd have had Maradona over Buonanotte, but Maradona's in the ground. You know, Buonanotte's the one playing. So, like, come on.
I must have missed the Maradona spell at the King Power. I wasn't around for that. How did that one go?
No, that's madness. But then, yes, but then you to look at it and go, well, then it should be really a Forest team because like they've had the better start overall. But it's like then you can argue, well, like Vas could be in the team. He's had a really good 8 games, but then he might like do his usual like madness, like when it comes to the second half of the season. All of a sudden, he's not as the player that he was at the start. So it's, you know, I think it's a flawed sort of setup. If you take it overall, I think like above the rest of the team, I think he got his spot on. But it's just like Vardy's got to be in. He has to be.
Online edits. You've joined at the wrong time, mate. But we do a live call and show every Monday. So if you're around Monday 7 p.m, then you can join, mate. Right, let's get to the score predictions in the chat before we end. So we have Akif starting us off 1-1. It's a popular scoreline. 2-1 Leicester from V1. Zaid says 2-1 Leicester. Tripe Onion says 4-0 Foxes. He also thinks Champions League football is coming.
There we go.
Power, remember?
To be fair, he's backing up his statement. He's explaining to you why Champions League football is coming. I mean, it's logical. It makes sense.
Yeah, Buzz reckons 2-1 Leicester for Tau and Winks. Oddfish says 2-1. Richard also says 4-0. Clibbo says 1-1. Scott says 1-1. Chris says 2-0 Leicester. Akif again 1-1. Just win, don't care how. Thomas Wilk says 3-2. Psychedelic Peter, who is on psychedelics, clearly says 5-0. And I think that is it. Yeah. So, Anil, mate, what's coming up on for Fox 8 TV over the next few days? I know, obviously, you've got a video that's just come out as well.
I'm just doing Matchday Live with you. I think I'm involved with something with you tomorrow. Am I not? It's a busy week. I feel like I've done something related to Leicester every single day, sometimes twice. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's really heated up this game. Proper East Midlands derby. I can say that much.
Yes, tomorrow night. Ragsy will be there as well, I believe. It's on Forest Fan. Oh, no, it'll be on this channel as well, because I think we're co-streaming it. So, yeah, so it'll be on this channel at, I don't know if it's 7:30 or 8. I'll put a tweet out and let people know. Josh, Sports or YouTube, what's coming up?
Yeah, another vlog on the way. So if you want to hear some last-minute screams like a 15-year-old, feel free to watch that after Forest. But, yeah, another vlog on the way.
Hopefully it's similar to this.
Mate, if this goes in, put me. That's all. Shoot! Oh!
There you go. There you go. Just an excuse to play it again. Ragsy, what's coming up on wherever you are, mate? Foss Hub, Talk Leicester City. What's coming up?
Yeah. It's kind of a mix in between at the minute. So we are live tonight. We also have Wolfie joining us from Forest Fan TV. So that's live on Foss Hub's channel on playback. And this whole, one of the comments and stuff that Murillo and Milenkovic are the best centre-back partnership. I don't know what he's chatting about. But if you want to watch me with my new defined self, sort of head into that sort of debate over there, then come and join us. Absolutely more welcome to. And then, I'll be joining you guys on Forest Fan TVs. And obviously, this be co-streamed on here. That'd be great. And I think more of a post-match review coming forwards, but stay tuned to that either on Foss Hub on playback or on Talk Leicester City. Then tune into those two.
Lovely stuff. And make sure you give Wolfie shit about Wood, then, yeah? Not just me. You know.
Oh, yeah. No, don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah.
Good. Brilliant. Thanks to everyone who's got the comments in. Hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, please do it now. Tomorrow evening, so obviously, as we said, we're on Forest Fan TV tomorrow evening. Before that, though, at 7 p.m, I'll be back with one of my weekly predicting the starting 11. I got it very wrong last week, but will I get it right this week? Is Fatawu going to be in that team? I think we all know he probably will be. But that'll be at 7 p.m. Tomorrow evening. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Josh. Thanks to Anil. And thanks to Ragsy. And as always, thanks to everyone in the chat. We'll see you next Wednesday on Fox's Den, 7 p.m. Bye-bye.